Economics important questions. First is, what do you mean by term virtual water export? The indirect export of water used in the production of water intensive crops like rice when those crops are sold abroad. Concept water guzzling crops. Crops that require a disproportionately high amount of water for cultivation. For example, rice and sugarcane. Approximately how many liters of water are required to produce 1 kilogram of rice? Between 3000 to 400 liter water is required to produce 1 kilogram rice. What percentage of the Indian workforce is currently employed in the agriculture sector as of 2026 to 27? Approximately 45%. Name the three stages of agriculture activity structure used to organize pre-production, production and post-production. What is the average land holding size for an Indian farmer? Approximately 1.08 hectares. What percent of Indian farmers are classified as small and marginal, owing less than 2 hectares? Approximately 86%. What do you mean by concept economics of scale in agriculture? The reduction in per unit production cost that occurs when farming is conducted on larger plots of land. Approximately what percent of Indian farmers still depend on non-institutional sources of credit? Nearly 25%. What is the ideal ratio for nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium in soil compared to the current skewed ratio in many parts of India? That is 4:2:1. That is the ideal ratio. But the current ratio is 8.4:2.4:1 due to excessive urea use. Into how many agroclimatic zones has India been divided for scientific farming purposes? That is 15 agroclimatic zones. Concept disguised unemployment. A situation where more people are working in a sector like agriculture than are actually needed, resulting in zero marginal productivity. What do you mean by distress sale? When farmers are forced to sell their produce at very low price immediately after harvest due to lack of storage facilities. According to the NCRB, approximately how many farmers commit suicide annually in India? Between 9,000 and 10,000. What percentage of India's agriculture GDP is spent on research and development? Less than 1%. What were the four primary pillars of traditional land reforms in post independence India? Abolition of intermediaries, land ceilings, consolidation of holding, and tenancy regulation. The Dash schemes aims to map residential land in villages using drones and codes technology. The Swamitva scheme. Concept precision farming. What do you mean by precision farming? An approach using technology like ICT, sensors, GIS to ensure inputs like water and fertilizer are applied in exact quantities needed at the right time. Identify the four pillars of zero budget natural farming developed by Subhash Palekar. Bizamrit seed treatment or Jivamrit soil microbial boost and Mulunkin soil cover and Vapsha moisture air balance. What is the main difference between organic farming and ZBNF regarding cost? Organic farming involves high input cost, organic seeds, manure, whereas ZBNF is low cost and relies on local resources like cow dung, urine. Next is contrast direct and indirect farm subsidies. Direct subsidies provide cash directly to farmers, for example, PM Kisan, while indirect subsidies lower the price of input, for example, cheap fertilizer or electricity. What is the primary objective of the PM Kisan scheme? To provide income support of 6,000 rupees per year in 3 installments directly to farmer bank account. What do you mean by concept growth versus development? Growth is a quantitative increase in production like GDP, and while development is a qualitative improvement in life standard. For example, HDI provide the OECD definition of inclusive growth, economic growth that creates opportunity for all segments of the population and distribute dividends of prosperity fairly. What was the specific goal of the 12th 5-year plan 2012 to 2017? Fast, inclusive, and sustainable growth. Which organization releases the Human Development Report? The United Nations Development Programme. How does the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index differ from the standard HDI? IHDI discounts the HDI score based on the level of inequality in health, education, and income with a country. Name the three dimensions used to calculate the multidimensional poverty index: health, education, and standard of living. According to the Niti Aayog,